Hey guys, it's Bria. Welcome back to my channel. So today I finally have for you guys the long-awaited story time on why I quit my job. Shout out to my girl Lucy. I know you requested this video like a month ago and I'm just now getting around to filming it, and you're probably already over it by this point. Like, you're probably like, I don't even care why you quit. So before I can actually tell you guys like why I quit my job, like I kind of need to backtrack a little bit and tell you guys like kind of my experience at my old job. I'm not going to tell you where I worked, but I will just mention that I was a cashier. So when I first started working at my job, like it was all cool. I liked it. It was easy. The pay was really good, to be honest. Like compared to a lot of the other jobs out here in my area, this one paid really well, and I felt like the job wasn't hard. Like no job I feel like is ever really hard. It's more like the management and like the environment that you work in and your coworkers and all that. Like the job itself is not hard. What makes it hard is, you know, who you're with, who you're working with, like all that stuff. So yeah, when I first started it was really cool. I loved my manager. He was like super down to earth, and he was like super understanding. If you had to call out for whatever reason, like, you know, no problem with him. He was just like a really cool guy, and honestly my coworkers at the time were really cool. I loved them, to be honest. The majority of them were like around my age or a little bit younger than me, so we all kind of got really along. There's like a couple of older ladies that worked there that were kind of a little bossy, and they kind of acted like assistant managers. If you've ever been at a job where there's like an employee that is like literally has the same job title as you, but yet they feel like they're in charge. I don't know, there was some of those people at my job. But besides that, it was really cool. I mean, a couple months went by, but then my manager had to take leave because his wife ended up giving birth. His wife was pregnant and she gave birth, so he had to go and blah blah, like whatever. And honestly I was like really upset that he was leaving, because I'm like, oh, who the heck is gonna like run the show now? Like, we're captain the ship. So there was one dude who kind of had been there longer. He'd been there a while. Like, I'm telling you, like, I don't ever want to feel like I'm gonna get stuck into a job, because some of the people that I was working with were there for like 9-10 years, and like they literally still have the same job title. Like at my old job there was really no opportunity to grow unless like management left, and then like they threw somebody in there to like fill that void. So yeah, so my manager had to leave. He was gone for, I want to say like a month and a half, maybe 2 months that he was gone. And during that time there was a dude, like I said, who had been working there longer, so they kind of were training him to like take over his position while he was gone. Now this was supposed to be a temporary thing, but there were rumors going around that my manager was not going to come back, that he was applying at his jobs and blah after his wife had given birth and all that, that he was not going to come back. And honestly I was like, yeah, he's gonna come back. Like, my manager had been there for a cool minute as well, so I was like, he's for sure gonna come back. It turns out no. So this dude that kind of assumed the position of manager while the real manager was gone, he kind of was okay while it was temporary. Like, he had no problems with us. Like, I didn't have any problems with him, to be honest. He kind of didn't really like boss us around too much, which is cool, because everybody already knew what had to be done, how we had to do it, when we had to do it, everything like that. Like, everybody already knew the routine, everything was cool. But then it all changed when it was confirmed that my manager was not going to be coming back. He actually came back, I want to say for about 2 or 3 weeks, and then he just left. Like, he quit. Once my manager officially quit, the guy that had kind of assumed his position while he was gone became the manager officially. So when he became the manager, I was kind of nervous because I didn't really have any problems with him, but it's not the same, you know. It's like not the same management, it's not the same like style of management. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, it's two completely different people. Like, they run the show a little bit differently. So when he officially became manager, and I'm gonna call him Pablo. When Pablo officially became manager, he asked everybody again for their availability. My schedule really never changed. It was always like I had like a set schedule, which I loved, because it's not like I'm sitting around waiting for the group text to be like, okay, this is the schedule and blah. But then when Pablo became manager, he asked everybody again for the availability, and I was just like, okay, whatever. So I gave it to him again. Nothing really changed. It was like the exact same availability that I was working, the same days, the same hours and all that. So the reason Pablo was asking everybody for the availability was because he said he wanted to make sure that the schedule that we were working was the right schedule for us, that it fit with everybody, like it was just like the perfect schedule, I guess. I don't really know what he said. So for my availability, I was only able to work mornings on the weekends. So Saturday, Sunday, I would come in really early, to be honest, and I would get out. The latest I would get out was 2 in the afternoon, and I love that because like I have time to be with my family and all that, and you know, like who the heck wants to work on the weekends, right? So I gave him my availability. I said weekends I can only work morning. Everything was going okay. I mean, I didn't really vibe with the new manager at all. I kind of didn't really like him. I was starting to kind of just, I don't know, for whatever reason, I just kind of was not liking him anymore. And then he started hiring more employees, and I didn't really have a problem with that, but I was just kind of like, there's really no need to hire more employees. Like, why are you hiring more employees? So with the new employees, it was like whatever, because my hours weren't being cut, and I was like, I'm fine with that. As long as my hours aren't being affected, then I guess, you know, you could hire whoever you want. So one of the new employees, I'm gonna name him Joseph. One of the new employees, Joseph, called out like on his second week working there. He called out on a Friday, and honestly at this point I was like getting to be like overwhelmed with the environment that I was working in. I was just like I can't do this. Like the new manager, his management style, it was like he wasn't equipped to be manager, and he wanted things done a certain way. There was like all these new changes that he was making, and I'm all for change. Like if change is gonna benefit everybody, then go for it. But I felt like they were unnecessary changes. He was wanting us to literally work, like if we had time, like if you're on the register, there's not much that you can do while you're on the register if there's no customers, because the second that I would leave my register to go clean or go stock something, like the employees would come in. Not the employees, sorry, the customers would start coming in, and I'm like, okay, we'll have to go back. So he did not want anybody sitting, not even for 0.2 seconds, y'all. Like, oh my goodness. And it was just getting to be too much, because the night shift would come in, and the night shift would not do anything but listen to their music and like sit like on a chair and listen to their music, because it's usually dead at night where I used to work at. And I felt like that was very unfair, because you know, when I'm at work, I'm expected to be busting my ass 24/7, like no breaks at all, like keep going. Like if I have already done everything that is in my job description, I'm supposed to find other things to do, and I don't have a problem with that. I really don't. Like I'm the type of employee that if I'm not really doing anything, I feel like I'm just wasting my time, and I'd rather leave. So I didn't have a problem with it, but it got to the point where I was starting to be reprimanded for little things that I felt like were unnecessary. And I was like, okay, well, you have the night shift, and the night shift is not doing anything that they're supposed to be doing. They're just literally sitting there listening to music. They're not cleaning. They're becoming lazy, and they're just not really going above and beyond like I'm going above and beyond. And I felt like that was really unfair, because any little thing that happened, I would get reprimanded. I would be threatened with getting my hours cut. Like for example, on the weekend, the guy that used to work the afternoons in the weekend, I guess he left the store messy and he didn't stock anything and blah blah blah. And then the manager, Pablo, wanted to like switch my hours with him, and I was like, well, I already told you I cannot work afternoons on the weekends. Like my availability states that I can only work in the mornings. He was like, okay, well then I'm just gonna have to give you those 2 days off. And I was like, okay, like I'm already only working 4 days. You want to cut 2 days. I mean, it's not something that I'm doing. You're cutting my hours because your other employee is not doing their job. And I kind of was like, that's not fair. Like I haven't been doing anything. Like why am I the one getting my hours cut, you know? And then the other employee, you know, willy-nilly, like he's keeping his same hours. Like I just felt like that was not fair at all, and just little things that he would do would piss me off. But anyway, going back to this, Joseph, on his like second week of working there, he called out on a Friday, and by this time I was already getting fed up with like everything going on at work, and I was just like, you know what, like I kind of want like a day off. So I tried to call off that Friday, which was probably not a good idea. But I texted the manager, Pablo. I'm like, hey Pablo, I don't think I could come into work tomorrow. Like my sister just went into labor. Mind you guys, I don't have a sister that had gone into labor, but you know, I could have just said I have a family emergency tomorrow, I can't make it, or I have like a personal thing going on, like I can't make it, and you know, no questions asked, like it should be okay. But then he told me, you know what, that's your responsibility, you need to find somebody to cover for you. And I'm like, okay, I'm pretty sure you didn't tell the new guy Joseph to find his own replacement and blah blah blah. So I was just kind of like at this point getting really irritated, and I was already thinking about quitting. And he kind of just sent me over the edge with that, like, okay, you need to find your own replacement for that day, but it cannot be X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, well, X, Y, and Z are the only people that would be able to cover my shift. So basically you're telling me I have to work it. And then I kind of calmed down a little bit and I was like, you know what, it is kind of like last minute to just call off the day before. But so I was like, whatever, I'm just gonna like work tomorrow, but today I'm gonna put in a request for like 3 days, I think, for next week. Because at my job, what we had to do was, like, if we wanted to request a day off, we had to like write it on this little calendar at least a week in advance, and then he would give it to us. So I requested like 2 or 3 days in advance with plenty of time for him to find my replacement. And then I was scheduled to work with the manager on Saturday morning. So I was working with Pablo on Saturday morning, and then he tells me to take my break, right? So I've already written in the little calendar that so I want these days off. So Pablo tells me to take my break, and I'm like, okay. So I go to the break room, and then I see that the calendar had been ripped off the wall, literally ripped off the wall. I'm like in the trash, and then I was like, what the heck? And then I look up because he has like a little whiteboard with like messages for the team and whatever. So on the little whiteboard it says, I will not be approving requests for any days off from March until April. And I'm like, what the heck? I was like, that doesn't make any sense. I'm like, so what was the purpose of you putting up the March calendar for us to request days off if you knew you weren't going to give us any days off? I'm like, what? Like, that doesn't make any sense. I'm like, just say, this is what I was thinking. I was like, dude, just say that you don't want to give me the days off and like whatever. So I was like, what the heck? Like, I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to. I even came into work when I was gonna call out and I really was not gonna show up. And then like this dude really just ripped off the calendar and then said I'm not gonna be approving days off and blah blah blah. And I'm like, why does he have a problem with me? It felt like he had a problem with me, and I'm like, you shouldn't have a problem with me. Like, I'm a great freaking employee. I like bust my ass for you 24/7, and like I have not done anything wrong. Like, all I tried to do was call off, and then you said no, so I came into work, and then I requested the days off how I was supposed to in the beginning, and then that's still a problem. But yet a new guy who's been here 2 freaking weeks can call off no problem, right? And I was like, you know what, this is just too much. So by that day, when I was working with him, I knew that I was not gonna come back. I was like, fuck this place, like I just cannot work here anymore. So that was on Saturday. I was like, you know what, I'm quitting for sure. And then Wednesday night I sent in the group chat for work. I was like, hey, I quit. And my manager Pablo was like, this is very unprofessional, blah blah blah. But basically he said easy come easy go, and I just never replied. And to this day, sometimes he'll randomly call me, or I'll randomly get put in a group chat and like for work, and I'm just like, dude, you gotta like delete my number, like you gotta block my number, because you're still bugging me and I don't even work for you anymore. But so you guys, I'm so sorry this was such a long video. I'm like such a rambler when I talk, but I just wanted to film this video because I know my girl Lucy has been waiting for it. So I wanted to get that out there and kind of let you guys know why I quit. Don't ever work somewhere where you feel like you're being treated less than what you should be treated, to be honest. Like, it doesn't matter, jobs, relationships, friendships, anything. If you're not being treated how you're supposed to be treated, leave. But anyway, with that being said, if you guys like this video, please give me a huge thumbs up. Subscribe down below. While you're down there, go ahead and hit the little notification bell so that way you're notified when I post a new video. Also, if you guys are interested, you guys can follow my Instagram down below. I never really announce it. I always just kind of put it in the description. But if you guys want to follow me there, you guys can. I'll have my username down below. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.